Today we're going to be answering one of the most controversial and commonly asked questions that we ever get here at Goat Daddy's Farm and Animal Sanctuary, and that's going to be why the baby goats are not with their mom. Every TikTok video, every YouTube video, every Facebook video where we are actually feeding baby goats out of a bottle instead of the mom nursing the babies directly, there's always a comment or a question saying, why aren't the babies with their mom? What happened to the mom? Well, the moms are just fine. You can see these guys back here behind me living life in the woods, but the babies are all bottle fed. We're going to talk a little bit about how we do that, why we do that, and why it's okay to do it and why it's okay not to do it. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, there is other ways to have a dairy goat and still let them raise their own babies. So we're gonna touch on all those topics today and just kind of let you know where we stand and why we do what we do. So the first reason that we keep our babies inside of our home for the first few days and we bottle feed all of our baby goats born here is because we want them to be social. Our baby goats are gonna participate in yoga classes and they're all gonna live in captivity with human caretakers their entire life. Never in any instance are these goats going to need any sense of fear from people, and they need to be comfortable around people for hoof trims, deworming, vet visits, and things like that. By bottle feeding your goats, you're never going to be chasing a goat. You're going to ensure that for that goat's life, anytime it sees a person, it's going to see a friend, and it's going to be easy to catch and easy to work with. And they are in captivity. They are domesticated animals, so they do need to be okay with people. Now, you can still leave them with the mother goat and let the mother raise them and just interact with them and spend a lot of time with them in order to create that social bond. However, it's never going to be as intense as if you bottle feed them. It's going to take a lot of time to create that bond with a goat that's raised by its mother as if you're bottle feeding it, it sees you as its food source and its friend. And since I'm referring to us specifically on why we bottle feed, I will say that because we do have anywhere from 20 to 60 goats born at a time, we don't necessarily have the time to sit there with each goat who is running from us and new to people and been raised by its mom to spend hours a day that it requires to create that special bond that you would create with a bottle baby if you leave it with the mother to raise. Reason number two that I love to bottle feed our own babies is because we can monitor how much milk each goat gets. Any health issues, any concerns that we have over any goat are addressed immediately. For instance, the goat could have just one baby, which could mean that the mom is giving it everything that it has, and maybe it's getting a little bit too much milk and it's having issues with diarrhea. Or maybe the mom has 5 babies and she's not able to produce enough milk to feed all 5 babies. It's hard to know that if you're not seeing them and having hands-on at every feeding, and when they're with their mom, you're not there. You may not know how much each goat is getting until it's too late and you see that goat is growing slowly or lagging behind the others when it comes to activity levels and weaning off of a bottle. Reason number 3 that we bottle feed all of our own baby goats is going to be because we don't want them to get accidentally injured in our massive herd of goats. We've got 45 dairy goats on our farm and they live in a wooded pen that is surrounded by predators, and accidental injuries to baby goats are common. We hear about this all the time from our veterinarian that's going out to someone's house whose baby got stepped on by another goat, or maybe got nipped by a dog or head-butted by a bully goat. So you really cannot avoid all of those things if you're leaving those babies in the pen with the mom. Our pen is not set up for baby goats. It's set up for adult goats. And in being such, a baby goat would easily get injured if it was left with its mom in that pen. So we do choose to remove all of the babies for that reason. And that's a pretty important reason. We don't want our babies to get hurt. We want them to live long, happy, healthy lives. So, and then something that really just applies to us is going to be that we are a grade A goat dairy. So we want to use the mom's milk for milk to sell to the public to provide income for our farm. And doing such, if we leave the babies with the mom, the babies only need so much. So the mom's only going to produce as much as is being milked out of her. So if she's just got one baby, one of her teats, goats have 2, one of her teats may get mastitis and the baby may just nurse the other. Whereas if we are milking that mom every 12 hours like we currently do, then we can make sure that both teats are fully milked out and emptied, which means that the mom is going to be producing maximum quantities of milk, and she's never going to get mastitis or have any of those issues with babies chewing on her teats and damaging them, or it's called blowout. But when one doesn't get milked for a long time and it gets mastitis, it can literally damage and permanently ruin one of the teats or half the udder on that goat. By bottle feeding, we are preventing that. We're milking the mom, we're doing that job for her, and we're feeding the baby, we're doing doing that job for her as well. So it's kind of, some people would say, you know, doing nature's job, but there is no wild Nigerian or Nubian or any other dairy goat breed. These goats have been domesticated longer than any other animal. Even before dogs, human beings were domesticating goats and using them for milk and meat on their farms and homesteads. And that's kind of what we continue to do and teach on our farm and homestead here. Why goats are great and how to do it. With that being said, we don't eat our goats. I've never eaten a goat. Like, we're not eating any goats here at all, ever. We just use the milk for cheese and for milk. All right, our fifth and final reason for bottle feeding all of our baby goats is going to be weaning time. Dairy goats really only need to be nursed for anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. For larger breeds like Nubian goats, you may want to wait until that 12-week mark. And for smaller breeds like Nigerian dwarfs, you can most typically wean them anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. We choose 8 weeks here, and we find that that's the easiest. For instance, right now we have 5 baby goats that were being bottle fed, and today was their last day of getting a bottle. They're eating grain and hay really, really well, and they don't always come to the bottle as enthusiastically as they used to. That means that they're ready to be weaned, and we're definitely ready to wean them. Weaning is a big deal with goats, especially in a dairy, or even if you don't have a dairy. I know quite a few farmers that may have goats and they left the babies with the mom, and a year and a half later, that baby is still nursing from the mom. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, except for the fact that the mom is going to continually lactate, which is going to mean that it's taking all those nutrients from her body that she may need, especially if she gets bred again. The mom is also going to be at a higher risk for mastitis. That mom that's continuously nursing runs more of a chance of always having that big bag full of milk and getting some bacteria in there, causing an infection and getting mastitis. And another thing with the baby always nursing, do you really want that baby nursing when it's twice your size? Some of these babies get bigger than their mom. At a year and a half old, you don't want that baby to still be nursing. By bottle feeding, we can eliminate that, and we just decide when it's best for the goat and for us to stop bottle feeding that baby and make sure that they are happy and have a good transition to their new adult diet. All in all, I don't want you to think that you can't milk your goat and also leave the babies with the mom. I know plenty of people that have taken that time, and maybe they have kids of their own, human kids, that can spend more time with the babies, or maybe they're just milking for a small homestead, like for their family, and they don't mind if the mom doesn't want to be milked very much or doesn't produce much milk. So you can leave the babies with the mom. Primarily, that's only done on a smaller scale, like if you have 1 or 2 goats that you're milking at a time, but you can leave the babies with the mom and let her raise them. And a lot of people will do something where, like, after the baby is 3 weeks old, they'll lock the baby up at night, leaving the mom separate so that the baby's not nursing. And then first thing in the morning, they'll milk that mom and then leave the baby with the mom all day long. There are other methods to use, but this is just what works for us on a large scale grade A goat dairy. Every setup is different. I don't think that there's a better way or a worse way. I think it's more about what fits your lifestyle. And if you have the time to bottle feed a baby goat, energy, effort, but whatever you decide, you should not be forced into, and I definitely believe that you should really think about it prior to doing it. If you decide to bottle feed, it is going to require up to 6 feedings a day when the babies are first born, and you're also going to have to try and be there when the baby's born so that you can create that bond with that newborn baby and make sure it gets that colostrum from the mom, as well as be there with the mom to create that bond with her and let her know that you're going to be there to milk her and you're going to be there to feed her and take care of everything, every need that she has for the next few months. And I'll leave you with one thing to think about. We as people often personify animals. We pass our emotions and our feelings onto them, whereas they may just have instincts that are kicking in. They don't have human emotions. Now, I believe that my goats love me and they know me, and I believe that they have different personalities, and I absolutely love my goats, and God forbid anything ever happen to one of them. But we cannot sit here and say that a goat is going to love its child the same way that a person would. For instance, wild goats don't always live together in a herd. Male goats, after a certain period of time, would be kicked out and have to go find their own herd. If you left all male babies with their dam, they would soon be trying to mate with that dam and created three-eyed sisters, and we don't want to see that now, do we? And some goats will actually headbutt and injure their own babies intentionally. They refuse to feed them. They'll kick them. We've had goats that would overgroom babies. Maybe they think that they're cleaning and they accidentally chew an ear off. We've had that happen twice here on our farm, unfortunately. So you really want to analyze what you're planning on doing with your herd and what works for you. But there is good and bad at both sides of the spectrum. You just really want to be sure that you're not personifying that animal. You can't give it human emotions. You have to think of it from outside of the box, and you have to really be open-minded about your decision and the reasons why you decide to do what you decide to do. On that note, thanks for watching, and I'm going to go check on some goats that I think might be in labor, and we'll go to you later.